We are live for a little Sstc Short Track Championship Series action at the Myrtle Beach Speedway. This is our weekly recap that we do. You know, we've been running the dirt stuff live on Mondays, but just a little too busy on Wednesdays to get out there, so we've been recapping this one live, or like a little replay, but like we do it live, you know the drill by now. Right now, Brett McCoy is the quickest man on the racetrack in the 36 machine. The Flamin' Hot Cheeto P2 and Mike Lemieux holds down third for the moment. Decent sized field, 15 cars here, so have to see how the action turns out. A little bit of time here left in the practice. I may skip through here after we possibly take a look at a couple of the cars. Let's see what some of the guys are running in here. We got Glenn Stanley. He's in a different looking whip. I mean, we got to recognize this stuff. That's a nice looking paint job there. Looks like Stanley Graphics there. That 29 machine for Glenn Stanley. I know Reinhold, he had repainted his stuff last week. Late model. And the asphalt late model. So, I mean, he painted them both up to match. Chris did a great job on those. Rob in the old familiar 68. Joe Canella's right behind him in that 1K. There is the Flamin' Hot Cheeto of Keith Kincaid. Right behind those two mixing it up. Let's go find this 44. The all black double 4 of Bobby Belshaw. Right behind him is the 40 machine of Mike Lemieux. As you see a smoke going across there. Maybe some guys practicing getting it up and down pit road. Dave Brill in the 88 machine. Pulling it in as well. Lots of guys pulling it in here. Brett McCoy coming to us a stop here. This is guys maybe going in, resetting those tires one last time. Going to see if they can't find some pace before we go qualifying. I imagine that's what it would be. I mean, that's how you kind of have to treat it. Let's see. Let's advance a lap for the 54. Two more. We'll go down to a minute here. Now we've got Keith back out on the racetrack. Keith's a guy, definitely, you know, don't be shocked if we see him jump to the top of the charts here. So we'll zoom out. We'll go from afar. We won't use this view, obviously, for, I would think, self-explanatory. Not the best view, but you can kind of see how his car disappears behind those walls, and maybe some of the other guys don't. They're running about half a lane to a full lane higher. This is, see what you kind of want to see. Keith will basically, whoop, and then that wasn't Joe. Who was that? Stanley behind? Now you can watch the difference here. You can basically still see that whole roof, whereas Keith Kincaid, the last time we went through there, I mean, he's using the flat to rotate the car, and that's going to help him on tire wear. All sorts of stuff here at the Myrtle Beach Speedway. So it's just about being smart, racing, you know, within your means here, not abusing your stuff. We always have a long way to go. Not too sure how many laps we're doing tonight, if it's 75, possibly 100, but we'll see. See whenever we do go indeed take the grid, but for now we're gonna get ready to roll into qualifying. We'll see who pulls out on the racetrack first. And I just now thought of this. It just clicked in my head. Hopefully it doesn't bother people here, but if it does update in the background, I can do it. But normally how I play those intro music that I like with the grid, I just clicked in me that when I, like to say, I told you guys I was scrambling, I turned on my computer. I stopped my Spotify update just so I could get in here real quick, and that's where I use the instrumental music. So, we'll see if we can smooth that out here by the time this goes, but absolutely no promises. Here's Chris Farmer, comes across for lap number 1. Comes off the bottom there a little bit, 1 and 2. Probably wants to keep the nose a little more snug. Right down there next to the inside. Does it through 3 and 4. Could have went about half a lane lower, but that's going to be a decent lap here for Chris Farmer. Purple sector 2 until Mike Lemieux came through. But Ed Papineau, I think, is about to spoil this lap for the Farmer. He does a 20.2 to the 01 red, white, and blue machine to the top of the list for now. Definitely some fast guys, though, yet to qualify. So far from over here if you're Ed Papineau. And here we actually, you'll get updated here soon. I would think the next lap. I don't know why it likes to do that on replay. There he comes across. Mike Lemieux with a 20.11. Just shattered that pole time. 10th and a half to the good. And now Bob Belshaw, he milks the cow. 1/100th. Just inches past. Gets every ounce out of that 44. And he's the quick guy for now. Can he improve this second time around? He is green. That's personally better. But slowed down in sector 2. Not going to improve on the overall lap. Is Frank Barbary right now, 23rd. The 26 gets close to touching that outside wall. But either way, yellow, not going to improve. Going to stay where he is for the moment here. Is, see, Joe Canella's out on the racetrack. Let's see what this 1K machine does here. Joe Canella's goes to the bottom through 3 and 4. Not as low as he'd like. Maybe overdrove entry. Or maybe it's a quick line. Maybe you can roll that top. Is green. Let's see what it is for Joe Canella's. See it empty there, but it'll update the P6 for you. As right now, Glenn Stanley, purple. You all know what that means by now. 1's invisible, but it will change, and it's the 29 of Glenn Stanley. Fastest sector 1 and fastest sector 2. Keith Kincaid gonna really have to drive the wheels off of this thing, and he indeed did. 20.02 quick time for the Flamin' Hot Cheeto, who goes purple. Sector 1 looking to go even faster this second and final lap. Keith Kincaid slows down in sector 2. And a 20.012, an exact replica of lap number 1. That is not very often you see drivers do that. That's consistency. Great lap there for the Flamin' Hot Cheeto as Brett McCoy comes out on the racetrack. Change this to time real quick so they have 6 minutes. So Brett will have enough time to get the lap in. It's always misleading when they start waving that checkered flag. Creasing out here as McCoy comes across the line. Purple sector 1, green sector 2. That's quick time. First guy. As we'll change the tower. That's not changing for you guys. Trying to get that to show. No, it doesn't even want to show laps or time. So hopefully here with a relay overset or with a relay reset, yeah, that stuff will start behaving for me because I reset it on my end and now it's working. Not sure why it didn't want to work over here. There we go. So now it'll show their last times, which is what I have it on. But the best times, there we go. The 1997, the 2001 for Kincaid, and the 2004 there for Stanley. Great laps for those drivers, and well, we're going to do 100 laps, and like I say, my apologies. Nobody ever even asked me for that, but personally, it adds an element that I love, those intro grids, kind of amps me up a little bit. But rounding out the field, Row 8 to the inside, the 88 of Dave Brill. Row 7 to the top shelf, the 21 of Blackjack Quinn McLean. To the inside, the 54 of Chris Farmer. Row 6 to the outside, the 37 of Tim Chapman. To the inside, the 68 of Rob the Bossman Cassidy. Row 5 to the outside, the 71 of Chris Reinold. To the inside, the 1K of Joe Canellas. Row 4 to the outside, the 01 of Ed Papineau. To the inside, the 57 of Robert Keller. Row 3 to the outside, the 26 of Frank Barbary. To the inside, the 40 of Mike Lemieux. Row 2 to the outside, the 44 of Bob Belshaw. To the inside, the 29 of Glenn Stanley. Row 1 for your Cenex Short Track Championship feature event at the Myrtle Beach Speedway. To the outside, Keith Kincaid, and starting on the pole, the 36 of Brett McCoy. How funny is that I think, well, I don't think, I'm willing to own up my mistakes there. I put Myrtle Beach, Florida. We are in South Carolina. I am almost certain. Let's double check here, but yeah, okay, yeah. Look at that. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I'm not changing it. It's not gonna pop back up again. Look, man, you gotta be able to crack jokes at yourself. Here. So let's see if Brett McCoy, man, this is a good chance for him to come and try and collect the win. I mean, starting on the pole, where else would you rather be here? 100 laps to go play at the Myrtle Beach Speedway. The green flag waves, and we're underway. Brett McCoy leads us to the green flag. Keith tried to get that nose to the outside, just couldn't do it, and Brett McCoy going to lead the way as they battle here for fourth. Bob Belshaw to the outside, Mike Lemieux to the inside, and we got the Robert Keller 57, that Miami Hurricanes machine, trying to stir it up here down the front stretch here in South Carolina. Can he get the Hurricane rolling? There's some contact behind. The 01 of Ed Papineau gets a shot from Chris Reinold in the 71. No harm, no foul. They keep on playing. But it is early here at the Myrtle Beach Speedway, only on lap 3. And you're going to need to be nice if you want to survive here. The short, flat tracking. Little bit of banking, as you can see, but not a whole lot of banking in here. Really, we'll give you a better view of it. We'll go on board with the guy running in P2, the Flamin' Hot Cheeto. He's looking at the back of the 36 there of McCoy. Change that back to gaps here for you so you can see those gap times live. He has been staying right around that 0.3 of a second mark, and you can see just half a lane lower. And obviously, we're not going too fast here. You're not going to get the aero push per se that you're going to get in the next gen car if you go over and run some trucks or some Xfinity cars. But it will help you. I mean, just getting that air on the left front here, it's going to help create some downforce. Not slide that right front tire as much, and just help him overall smooth out his night, whereas opposed, you see Glenn Stanley, well, there in the center of the corner goes down, but almost in the tire tracks. And you see Bob Belshaw kind of doing the same thing. He either goes high or down low. Don't really want to exactly mirror that guy in front of you. I mean, if you are, you're not going to be able to get around him anyways. Unless you move him, you're going to have to figure something out, enter in high, diamond off, kind of be a little aggressive on the accelerator here. You can do that for a couple laps. You don't want to scar him and beat him up here, leave yourself with nothing. Is Chris Reinold right now running in 9th place. The biggest mover would be the 88 of Dave Brill, starting in the back of 2 spots for the time being. And, not that we don't expect cautions here. I expect some. We're short track racing, but you can see the little tri-oval. That helps naturally spread drivers out. You can't be as aggressive coming off of 4. It's just going to naturally, you know, slinky out the fear. Not no slinky would be bringing them back together. It's going to do the opposite of that. You know, when you stretch that slinky out, it looks like crap. I mean, that's kind of what this racetrack does. It's a Richmond per se. You know, a real small version of Richmond. Just that tri-oval. It kind of helps spread guys out. You obviously get the runs down the backstretch, but not too much so that, you know, you're really going to go in there and take out a bunch of guys. I mean, somebody may prove me wrong. You may be able to do that. It's definitely going to be something, you know, maybe you had to work for a little bit here as we go off the right front here of Ed Papineau. We'll see how close he's flirting with the outside wall coming off of 4. Not too close. I mean, you can still see a half a lane. You're not going to fit a car in there, obviously. You want to get up to that outside wall, float up there. Oh, there we go. Going up there, going to shave a little bit. That's what I like to see. I mean, that's when you're using all of it. You're not rotating the wheel coming off the corner as much. You're just floating. You're letting it come to you. And as long as you're not sliding that right rear, that's normally a game plan for success. So keep an eye out on that 01 of Ed Papineau. Right now, Cassidy just running around by himself in that final top 10 position. Tim Chapman gonna feel the pressure here from the 88 of Dave Brill soon. Dave, I mentioned, he is that hard charger. Starting to move up, thinking about it, taking a peek here at Tim Chapman, possibly in the next lap or two. Let's ride on board with the 88. Dave Brill floats up to the outside there, coming off before. You can see he's that half a lane higher than Tim. And like I say, it's not going to necessarily kill your lap time, but at the end of the day, you know, if you're not floating up there and using all of it, you're cranking it down. I mean, you know, we love to call this our sim. I know they do a great job of making it realistic, but at the end of the day, the less wheel input, the better. And I assume it would transfer that way in real life, too. You know, you keep those things straight, you keep them from slipping and sliding. I mean, they're going to be your friend. They're going to be happy with you. And Joe Canella's right now battling with the 54 of Chris Farmer. Farmer almost goes in there and gets in the side of him. This is the battle here for 13th. Is Chris Farmer going to prevail? Joe Canella's not going to, says, I'm not going to play like this right now. He's just going to live to race another day. Long way left here in South Carolina. We'll get it right this time. As Keith Kincaid rolls the top into one, just going to kind of diamond off. He's just playing the game right now with McCoy leading the way, 4/10 of a second gap here as we get ready to cross the start-finish line. We'll go off the rear end of your leader. Across the start lap 19, you can see Keith making up time there on corner entry. Brett pretty good coming off, gets to loosen that leash a little bit. Keith, man, he just says, okay, you want to take some back? I'll get it back here corner entry. But now Keith may be paying for it. That may be his weak corner for the moment. Just driving in deep to 3 and 4. He's good in 1 and 2. But possibly, you know, maybe just driving it in a little steep. I mean, you can see he makes up half a tenth right there. But then McCoy gets it back and then some. Coming off of 4, and this is something we've seen, you know, a little different from what we've been seeing this season of Keith Kincaid really just putting his foot down, man, and setting that pace. This is a little bit more of a battle here. The early stages were a fifth of the way through, lap 22 underway. Miami Hurricanes machine thinking about taking a peek here on Mike Lemieux. Can't do it. Not able to go from that far back. That would have been a deep send here for the Miami Hurricane. Maybe if you get up here in the center, you rough him up a little bit. Give that rear bumper a little shot. Scare the life out of that guy in front of you. And all of a sudden, a lot easier to make the pass. But you got to be, you know, you can't go in there and just clean the guy out. It's short track racing. You know, you expect you got to use that nose a little bit, but got to play the game. You got to be respectful. And right now, the caution flag waves for the first time. Chris Farmer goes around. Let's see if we can see what happens. Joe Canellas may have been involved. Tim Chapman gets a piece of this somehow. Let's see here. So Tim looks to make the move there under Cassidy, but Cassidy comes down the racetrack, so Tim lifts. And the farmer just couldn't react in time, gets into the back of the 37. That collects the 1K of Joe Canellas. In early trouble here for some of these drivers, as we're going to skip ahead one lap. We're going to see here Brett McCoy does indeed come down pit road. Didn't want to go too far. The top three are everyone coming down pit road. We have not seen this season. I mean, everyone, absolutely everyone coming down pit road. And obviously we're going to see 2 tires only for some guys. Some guys may try to risk it and go all 4. I think here in Myrtle Beach, you may be able to get away with the 4-tire pit stops. I mean, it's a short track. Don't get me wrong. Where's this pace car? So the pace car, I guess, was coming down the front stretch here. It's actually Timothy Chapman, so he may have went to get 4 tires here, and now he's stuck. So Tim, unless he gets a wave around here, he is going to be stuck that lap down, and that's a tough break there for him. Well, now the leader, actually, Glenn Stanley. So Glenn, he had done the 2-tire deal. Now he wants to come in and get the other 2, I'd assume. And that's going to be the break Tim Chapman needed, because he was going to be a lap down behind that pace car. But now, as you see the lights go off on the pace car, it should tell him to go around. It does. A little late on noticing it. No big deal, though. But it may affect him catching up. But, yeah, he'll get that wave around. I guess Quinn McLean there, Blackjack, he got the wave around. And now, your new leader, Keith Kincaid. Because Brett McCoy, I assume, he went 4 tires. He did. Leaders go 2. Everyone in front of McCoy went 2 tires. As the green flag waves, we're back underway. Gonna have to keep an eye out on that 36 machine. Tires weren't that old, but it doesn't, I don't know what pace these guys were driving this thing at. But all I know is the 36, he's gonna have to, he's going to have to do the cockwalk out there, really strut the feathers here and show what he's got if he wants to get by these things. Because at some point, even though you did get the extra tires as we go on board, they're going to equal out. So you've got to take advantage of all this extra grip you have from four brand new tires as opposed to the 2. And, we're going to see him make moves like this where Brett, maybe peaks a little early, makes the guy in front overdrive and tries to get him after he makes a mistake. Because like I say, you need that guy in front to have a little hiccup. You want to find a way to get by. But we're on lap 31. The Flamin' Hot Cheeto leads the way. But the battle on behind. McCoy does get to the inside of Keller here. Oh, there's contact with the Hurricane. Goes around. Oh, didn't hold the brakes. And caught the 36 of McCoy. And, man, that's going to hurt his chances to bring this thing back into the picture here. And, I get it. I've been that guy. Maybe just not holding the brakes, frustrated. We think we got turned. But when we look at the overview here, I mean, from my initial reaction, I don't think we can blame this 36 machine. I mean, he's there. So, if we're going to look low here, the 57, you can see him coming down the racetrack. I mean, he comes down. He's got a car there to the door. I mean, there is nothing that 36 machine can do. He's even on the brakes. See, barely makes contact there, and here he thinks he's going to get on by. And I don't think we saw front wheels turn. But, definitely maybe not too worried about locking them up here. You'd like to see guys lock up the brakes when they get spun around. See if we can get a little better view. And of course, I fast forward, click the wrong button. We'll go in the cockpit, maybe. As you can see, he may not see, doesn't know he's there, but he is definitely there. And you can see he holds the wheel straight, but man, oh man, not locking up the brakes may have cost some people, and that is a tough break, and really possibly the break that Keith Kincaid needed, because McCoy would have had the 4 fresh tires. He's trying to drive up through the field, but now he got some decent damage in that thing, and McCoy going to go down pit road here. Possibly try and fix some of this damage. Not going to affect you terribly. We're short track racing, but when you need to move to the front, you need all the time in that hourglass. With most of the sand gone, I should say a third of the sand gone. Not going to be as easy to find a way to time to get to the front before it's all out. McCoy does get off pit road there. You see him leave on the top of your screen. That's big for him. Don't want to get trapped a lap down. If you're the 36 of Brett McCoy. Tim Chapman and Chris Reinold come down pit road as well. Reinold jacking up the right side. Chapman jacking up the right side as well. So I imagine right sides only for these guys. I believe we'll get the 1 to green here this time by. We do. Lights go off on the pace car, so Keith Kincaid will get set to bring us back to the green flag here. See, cool as a cucumber, man. Just nice and smooth. Keith Kincaid, we're going to do something. We've done it a couple times. I don't do it that often, though. We're going to go outside of row 2. Actually, you know what? Be more interesting. Inside of row 3, we're going to watch this start here with Glenn Stanley. As we get ready to go back racing. Keith Kincaid, the Flamin' Hot Cheeto, drop the hammer. We're back underway. You could hear him spin there. Maybe a little trouble shifting. He's going to stay to the inside of Frank Barbary, but they make a little contact. And oh, what a hunch. I did not know that was going to happen, but the perfect guy to go on board with. Little contact there, and now Dave Brill gets to the outside in that 88 machine, but he can't get anything done. Going to have to fall back in line. And for the moment, Ed Papineau up the P2, up 6 spots on the day, but that's one less than this man that we were just looking at in the 88, Dave Brill. Up 7 spots. Good run here for the 88 machine of Dave Brill. As we approach closer to the halfway point, Ed Papineau starts to inch closer here to your leader, Keith Kincaid. Can the 01 of Ed Papineau find a way to get there? Well, he found a way to get there, but can he find a way to get around? As we roll on to lap 39 here in Myrtle Beach. I think, man, it's got to be hot. It's been hot and humid around here lately. I imagine it's hotter than heck down there in Myrtle Beach right now. Boy's sweating working away at this thing as Mike Lemieux gets into that final podium spot, works around the 44 of Bob Belshaw. Glenn Stanley trying to move this 29 machine back up towards the front, but here comes the real McCoy. The 36. Can Brett find a way to get back up towards the front? He's trying to make easy work here. The Stanley Graphics 29 goes to the inside. Glenn going to give him plenty of room here, but maybe in the preferred line off of 2. He's going to go down there, shut the door into 3. A little love tap. Brett says, no, you don't. This is my territory. I'm down here. He lifts up his leg. And now Glenn overdrives the entry to 1 here. He's going to get a good, decent run off of 2, but not enough to hold back the 36. And Brett McCoy up inside the top 5. Bob trying to inch back here at this 40 machine of Mike Lemieux as we're on lap 43, the 44 machine. He's there, but it's another case of, you know, gonna need that guy to make a little bit of a hiccup here as we go on board the left front of the 44 machine. Gonna enter in a little lower here. Catches him in the center, but what I don't like about this is sliding up the racetrack. You are working that right front tire, and that is something, you know, right now, God willing, it's gonna be okay, but you come across when that thing says 70 out of 100, and you're on the same set of tires, boy, oh boy, you know, you're going to be holding on. It is not going to be a fun ride for you. And now that you got the 36 coming on behind you, maybe you may got to hold on even more to the 44 of Bob Belshaw, because this 36, he knows he's got the pace. He's your quick time qualifier. I mean, was the leader. Maybe had a little bit of a hiccup there with the 4 tires stopped rather than the 2. Marred in traffic. Involved in an accident, and still somehow inside the top 5, trying to work his way around these guys. Belshaw keeps opening up that bottom through 1 and 2. You can see him just being a little too aggressive there in the center of the corner, possibly picking up the throttle a little too early, but going to be tough to change now, especially you leave the bottom open one more time. Here he comes. Brett McCoy takes over P4 for the moment. Will he get the full pass completed off of 4? He does. Move the 36 up to P4. Mike Lemieux going to be next on that list, but right now he's doing a good job of holding that bottom side of the racetrack, and this is where Brett, he's going to have to do something different. I mean, guys have been opening up the bottom, you know, just peeling open that tuna can lid, but at speed 2, Ed Papineau gets in the wall here going down the front stretch. He may lose 1 here to Mike Lemieux. Mike Lemieux on the bottom out of 4 has it at the line. Ed Papineau doesn't want to put up too big of a fight here because he knows he needs to get to the bottom. Doesn't want to let McCoy underneath, and he does get down there, shut the door. And that's where, Ed, you know, you could have saw yourself losing, I mean, 3 or 4 spots if you allowed the 36 underneath. Because we got 2 more cars in line. That was a big move from Ed Papineau to be able to get down there and shut the door, as we are over halfway on lap 52 here in South Carolina. Keith Kincaid leading the way here. As Chris Farmer, he is back out on the racetrack now, 2 laps down. The 57 of Rob Keller, he is so far from what I've seen, decided to call it a night. Haven't seen him pull back out on the racetrack. We'll see if he does indeed get back out there. Let's find some battles here in the back. Frank Barbary trying to run down Chris Reinhold. They're behind that hard charger of Dave Brill. Now up 8 spots. Quinn McLean trying to work around the boss man, Rob Cassidy. An R&D Ranch 68 at the 21. Maybe looking a little better right now. Peels off the bottom. Thinks about taking a peek here, but that'd be a deep send. Can't do it from that far away. He's going to have to behave, bide his time here as the front floor could almost, well, I lied to you. Keith Kincaid is checking out. You could put 2nd through 4th under that dang blanket. But Keith, man, he was hot. He decided the Flamin' Hot Cheetos were enough. He's crawling his way out of that blanket, trying to pull away as we come out of turn 4. Lap 57 underway this time by. McCoy finally gets underneath Papineau here. He does have the fresher tires, and we saw him most recently get new right side tires. But it took him a while there to get around Papineau. I want to say at least 10 laps. And at that pace, it's just going to be even harder to get around Keith Kincaid here at the end as the tires continue to age. We'll have to see, can he find a way to get there as McCoy inches closer and closer to the deck lid of Mike Lemieux. McCoy enters high, tries the diamond off. This is what I was talking about. You run that cut down line, you get the momentum, but Lemieux saw it coming, and he's going to play a little defense. He's going to enter low, but this is going to affect his corner exit speed, but McCoy doesn't get the exit he'd like. Not going to be able to do it this time. He's got to try to set him up one more time. Enters high, tries the diamond low, but Lemieux, little late into the accelerator, makes sure it keeps it on the bottom, and he says, Brett, you're going to do this thing. I'll let you go around on the high side. Maybe a little contact there as the 36 touches that right rear. Boy, oh boy, Brett McCoy, he knows he's got the pace, but this is what I was saying. Yeah, you know, the tires, they do eventually hit that equal out point where Brett, I mean, he's going to feel a little better, but the lap time's not going to be there. The pace isn't going to be there that he wants to get that pass done, and I don't know, we may just be at that point where unless we get another caution, you know, you can go in here, put some right sides on it, and even then, you're going to need other guys to pit as well. Not going to be able to work around 4 or 5 guys here and not let it show on the wear chart. Because now he goes down, clips that apron, the 36, trying to use absolutely every tool in the book to rotate this car, try to find some grip on the bottom. As the 1K of Joe Canella slows on the straightaway, going to allow the leaders to go on by. Shouldn't bring out a caution. Joe keeps rolling here, so no harm, no foul. It's Rob Cassidy, though. He did lose a spot or two. Tim Chapman got around. Can't tell if there's damage on that right front. Maybe Rob got into the outside wall. Maybe him and Joe made a little bit of contact, because Joe does have some damage, and he's pulling it down pit road. So it's tough to tell. Very well could have, but we are 2/3 of the way through as we're on lap 66. Pick up sticks as Keith Kincaid looking to pick up those checkered flag colored sticks, man. He'd love to add another one here to the collection. And what better place to do it than in the beaches of South Carolina? As Brett McCoy, we watched him get up to 3rd, but I mentioned, you know, it took about 10 laps to get around Papineau. It's almost been 10 laps here behind Lemieux. It's just going to get that much harder. We may see him get around, you know, possibly 20 to go, 25 to go, something like that. But then I just don't know. I mean, Keith, he's got tricks in the bag, man. You know, he didn't run the shine off those suckers yet out front. He's been pacing himself. He'll have a little bit left in the tank. I don't know if it'll be enough to defend, but I would think, you know, with Father Time being on his side, is you see the 36. He is working that thing. McCoy clips the apron, gets a little slideways. I mean, this is just not going to have much left. And right now, Glenn Stanley trying to come at the 44 here of Bob Belshaw to move that 29 machine in that final top 5 spot. Bob leaves the bottom open. Just not enough grip there for the 29 to take a peek underneath. And Quinn McLean and Frank Barbary, another close battle on the racetrack. Chris Reinhold and Dave Brill as well. We've got some 2-car battles all over the racetrack. As Dave Brill is that hard charger. He stalled out here at 7th, but still up 8 spots. Great run as Ed Papineau gets around Brett McCoy. We're going to rewind this just because I can. and McCoy. So he gets a little loose there coming off the 2. He's just worked the right side so hard, and Ed Papineau takes the run, goes back around the outside. And welcome the 0-1 back to P3 here. In the closing stages is Mike Lemieux. Sees that 17 getting a little bigger here. He's got the gap down to 0.4 of a second. Did Mike Lemieux maybe have a couple tricks up his sleeve here as we come into the close? 28 laps to go this time by, and Mike Lemieux, he's as close as he's been since the restart. 3.5 of a second. Did Mike Lemieux play a game here? Did he save while maybe Keith was driving a little too hard? We'll have to find out here as we're in the final quarter of the race here this next time by. As we go back to this battle here. Oh, there's contact. The 29 gets into Bob Belshaw. Glenn Stanley lets him save it. But Rob Cassidy, the lap down car, maybe there in the mix, and he didn't want to be, just finds himself caught up in it. No harm, no foul. But now Glenn Stanley, he's got to run down this 44 again. Not going to be easy in 25 laps. As Mike Lemieux, pretty clear way. Tim Chapman will be the next lap car in lap traffic. But you can see there he is. Turns 3 and 4. Keith Kincaid just now entering turn 3, so not too sure if he'll see any more lap traffic or if this could be it. You know, Mike just may have to run with what he's got, see if he can go bring it back to him. Ed Papineau, we saw that pass for 3rd, but he hasn't been able to pull away from the 36 of Brett McCoy. Brett's been able to stay right there. Can Brett find a way to fish himself back into that final podium spot? Brett right there on the back of the 0-1 of Papineau, but can't do anything for the time being as Chris Reinold losing touch a little bit with that 88 of Dave Brill. You can see Dave, they're about 3, almost 4 car lengths ahead coming off of 4. Unless we get a late caution here. I mean, this is just kind of probably, you're looking at what you're going to see. I mean, I mentioned, you know, I mean, yeah, you could have pit maybe 20 laps later or so than the guy in front of you. But at this point, once you've got 50 laps on the tires, it doesn't matter. You know, as long as you've taken care of them, that guy, and our leaders do. You're not going to have that advantage that you think you'd have because you've, like I say, battled your way, I mean, through all those guys in front of you, really cranking the wheel into that thing, using it for all it's worth. And that's why we see the 36, if anything, you know, is possibly the 4th fastest car, when in reality, he's probably the quickest guy on the racetrack. But he had to drive the wheels off this thing to even get that damaged 36 back in the picture. But there's just not a whole lot left. And as Keith Kincaid rolls off a 4 this time, we'll have 18 laps to go as the Flamin' Hot Cheeto looks to hoist the trophy here in Myrtle Beach. Battle's still close there for 3rd, as you see. I mean, Ed Papineau has not been able to get back away from the 36 of McCoy. And that car coming up behind is Joe Canella's on new, fresh tires. He's a couple laps down, so I don't think we'll have to worry about Joe really getting into this picture here. They may let him go on by. He's got that much pace, but I would think Joe probably just going to stay in line, watch these guys ride a little bit here, try to bring it home. As Keith rolls the bottom off before here, he crosses the line. 15 laps to go. We'll see here. What do we got? Glenn Stanley, he was taking a move there on the 44 of Bob Belshaw. Finally back to the inside. We saw that contact about 15 laps ago behind Rob Cassidy. It was a lap car. Glenn pushes up the racetrack. They rub a little bit. You're going to do that short track racing. You got to find a way to use that guy up. You know, you don't have that tire advantage. You got to move to the inside. You don't want to burn your your stuff up. Comes across the nose there, the 44, and boy, oh boy, Bobby wasn't lifting there. 29 of Stanley bounces off the outside wall, and now Stanley may just have to lick the paws here and try to bring it home, because that was a pretty hard shot on the right front. You see it's going to affect the handling of that race car. And Glenn Stanley, actually, he just says, I'm going to pull it in the pits. You're going to lose a lot of spots now if you're Glenn Stanley, but hey, if that's, what you got to do, that's what you got to do. Maybe thought tires wouldn't last, wouldn't be able to bring it home. Speaking of bring it home, man, 11 laps to go this time by as Keith Kincaid and Mike Lemieux have caught lap traffic. They work by Tim Chapman, no problem. He gets up out of the way. He's got another one coming here, though. And have that 26 machine of Frank Barbary. Does Frank play nice here? Does he stay high and get out of the way? He lifts there on corner entry. Keith may not have been ready for it. He had to check up a little harder. That allows Lemieux to reel him in, but Mike overdrove the center of the corner there. Maybe got excited on all that time he was making up, and now we see the gap open back up to 3/4 of a second with 9 laps to go for the Flamin' Hot Cheeto. Brett McCoy somehow worked his way back around Ed Papineau. So Brett McCoy, welcome him back to the podium, and after the night he's had, boy, oh boy, you got to think. I mean, it's going to be bittersweet. It'll feel good to finish on the podium. But to know what could have been for this 36, had a lot of pace. But, well, just didn't necessarily have the friends out there, the help he needed to work around and get up towards the front. But 7 laps to go. Keith Kincaid has led the way here for this whole set, or final 2/3 of the race, I should say. I mean, McCoy had it till he went down pit road, took 4 tires, and Keith Kincaid just never looked back. 6 laps to go this time by. Bob Belshaw has obviously been able to pull away there from Glenn Stanley after the contact. Dave Brill and Chris Reynolds still pretty close. But now Dave finally up those 9 spots after the trouble in front of him. And that's a pretty impressive run there for the 88 of Dave Brill. Up 9 spots short track racing. Not an easy accomplishment. 5 laps to go for the Flamin' Hot Cheeto. Keith Kincaid, as he rolls through 3 and 4. 4 fingers in the air. 4 more trips around the beach. Keith Kincaid just, man, oh man, it's just continuing his dominance here. If not necessarily all wins, but I mean, the way he's just podium after podium. Ed Papineau, he's another one. Just keeps parking it on the podium, but it's always a spot or 2 behind Keith Kincaid, and just can't fish him back in the points. But somehow Papineau did get back to 3rd here. You notice, that's why I clicked back here. I mean, these guys still duking it out. 2 laps to go here at the Myrtle Beach Speedway. Keith Kincaid enters turn 3 here. He approaches the lap car of Chris Reynolds. Chris going to get up and out of the way as the white flag waves. 1 lap to play. The Flamin' Hot Cheeto. Gotta be smart here. The 88 of Dave Brill. Not gonna. Oh, man. He didn't give him too much room there. That could have been a close call for the Flamin' Hot Cheeto. But as he rolls through 3 and 4 for the final time, he's gonna see that checkered flag wave. And Keith Kincaid going to bring it home here at the Myrtle Beach Speedway, followed by Mike Lemieux. And Ed Papineau holds on to that final podium spot. Brett McCoy fourth, and Bob Belshaw rounds out the top five. We'll see here if we can't get a word or two here with these guys. We'll try to cut back a couple laps here. Well, obviously, we'll make the standings go away here. Sorry about that. Just want to give myself a bunch of laps to be able to talk to these guys. They're so good. They went green flag, so I mean, we're not gonna be hopping around shopping like we normally do. I mean, we're just gonna get to talk to the drivers. See here if we can't get a word. I don't think Ed's here. He's got it here on him by default. I'm so used to just automatically clicking that third place guy. He is not here, but spoiler alert. This man is here. Let's go ahead. Let's pull him up here. I know he's got himself muted in Discord, so I'll warn him to unmute himself if he's here. But Mike, Shaggy in the booth, man, you got a copy?
Yeah, I can hear you good, Shaggy. Thanks.
Well, hey, man, it seemed like there with about 30, 40 to go. I mean, you were reeling him in. You had got to within 0.2 of a second. You were right on the back of him. But did we maybe just push it too hard, burn the stuff up? I mean, what could you have done different? Because, I mean, you like to say, you were as close as you could to get into the lead without actually getting there. But, man, just couldn't grab it.
I'd have to go back and look at the laps. I don't think I ran any different pace trying to catch him. With these cars, you have to manage the tires so much, especially at a place like Myrtle. And I'd have to look at his laps as well, see if maybe he fell off a little bit. As I told him at the end of the race, I wouldn't have gotten around him cleanly, even if I got to his bumper. It's these are tough cars and tracks to run.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad you said that because, Mike, it's one of those things I was talking about during the broadcast where, if you do want to get around the guy cleanly, you almost need that 20 to 30 lap tire advantage. And then by the time you run, 30, 40 laps on your set, well, you've kind of equaled out to that guy in front of you. And, man, you're kind of just waiting on him to make a mistake. And when you're behind Keith, as well as I do, man, he don't make a lot of those. So yeah, you probably would have had to force him to do so. I saw a couple guys think about making passes on the high side, but was it just too far of a way around here with not a lot of banking to get it done on the outside?
Yeah, in my experience, Myrtle is not the place where, you can take the outside groove and it hurts the inside car. It's not really a place like that. South Boston is one that comes to mind where you can kind of do that, where you can take the outside groove away from somebody in front of you and it hurts their time enough that you can maybe get up on the side of them and get around them. It's just not that kind of track. I think it's just a little too flat, but it's a lot of fun. It's a great place to race. You got to be really careful not to get on those turtles on the exit of two. I saw somebody maybe do that earlier in the race. That's deadly at this place. But yeah, overall good race. Like I usually try to do with these races here, and that's just try to finish cleanly, if possible. But it is hard when somebody gets out front. It's pretty hard to track them down, even if you're a tenth or two quicker.
Yeah. I mean, unless, and I know obviously, you want to go incident free. You're trying to keep that thing clean. But yeah, definitely. I mean, if you get to the guy and you don't want to move him out of the way, man, it is tough in these things after the tires go away from you. But at the end of the day, Mike, a P2, that's a hell of a run, man. Congratulations. Who you want to thank?
I mean, first and foremost, thinking about the league itself. Senex is trying to do something here that I've seen in other places over the years with iRacing and other platforms. But we're kind of the senior league, if you will, and it creates a pretty different environment. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of respect out there. This idea that you're not going to move people out of the way, I think that's important. We all need to have a hand in trying to take care of the other drivers out there, because at the end of the day, we're all out there to have a good time. So that's great. And then of course my wife for putting up with my hobby here for 2.5 decades. I've probably been doing this about 26 years. So I really appreciate that. And of course, and I think he's already gotten recognition before in the past, which is my longtime sim painter, Steve Merzlak at Apex Graphics, does a fantastic job. So thanks. We'll see what next season looks like. I'm looking forward to that. I think the league is definitely headed in the right direction. We probably need to make some changes to increase the competition throughout the field, but there's ways we can do that, and I'm looking forward to it.
Now, I'm glad you said that, Mike, because I'm always a confused, dumb broadcaster. But do we got 2 more races left, right? Or was this the last one?
Oh no, there's a whole other week. I'm
That's
probably
okay.
gonna end
I
up
thought
taking the
so.
last. Yeah, I got to take the last week off, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've missed a few already, but it's been a great time, and I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to take a little break in between this season and next, and we need to do a little more recruiting. So hopefully, some of the old timers out there, they see this and want to get involved in it. I think it's got a great start, and I think it's a great platform. This car on short tracks is probably one of the more difficult of any of the ones I've ever done over the years. I know that I've seen in your previous broadcasts you talk about using the tires. My problem with this particular car is kind of opposite. Sometimes I find out I don't use the right front enough. And at the end of the race, that can cost you because you probably could have gone quicker throughout a run. But it's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
This is
Do
a
you
great
when
environment,
you
great
find
crew.
yourself doing that, do you find yourself leaning on the right rear tire a little more?
Yeah, I can, and I think that this car has always been a real challenge for me over the years that they've had it. It's very different than the Super, and it drives very differently. It probably doesn't fit me that well. It requires a lot of what Keith has, which is one of the other things you try to do when you get behind one of these guys is go to school on them and see what they're doing, because I think that can improve yourself a little bit.
Yeah, no, 1,000%, man. I always try to look at it like that, man. When I'm running P2 behind a good sprint car driver or something, that is a free $50 driving lesson that some people pay for. So get to go out there and try to mimic that guy in front of you. But hey, Mike, congratulations, man, on a good run, and can't wait to talk to you next season, man. Congrats.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks again.
Mike Lemieux bringing home P2, and now we'll bring up the man who, well, got out front after a little bit of pitch strategy. Leader took 4 tires, you took 2, man, and we've seen only 20 some laps on the tires. That's probably the move. I doubt you were working the left sides too hard, but talk to us about it.
Yeah, Shaggy. Yeah, we finally got the pit strategy straight this time. I fired my crew chief, got a new crew chief behind the wheel, so to speak, and we made the right call with just the 2 right side tires. Track position means so much here, and with all these tracks with this particular car, it's just about conserving those tires and having them under you at the end when you need them.
Yeah, and I talked to Mike a little bit about it, Keith, but you're probably the guy to ask for this, and I would say that pit strategy nailed it perfect because, some of these short track races we go to, you can kind of pinch the guy down on the outside, if you get a good start. Maybe you can out of 2, but with this tri-oval, going down the front stretch, I mean, you can't really pinch that guy down like you'd like to coming out of 4, right? I mean, you got to get it done on the bottom.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the outside is the long ways around here. It's nearly impossible to make a move on the outside and make it stick.
Yes, and then it just seemed like, I mean, we saw Brett obviously had the pace out front, was quick early. You're staying right there with him, but I mean he would run into that trouble as well. You could be faster than the guy in front of you, but man, if they don't make a mistake, they don't get off that bottom. There's really not much you can do, and just seeing what you were doing tonight, that had to be the strategy, right? You're not really pushing the race car too hard. Just got to make sure we stay on the bottom and. Well, not too close to the bottom because you don't want to clip those turtles coming out of 2, man, because they're tricky too.
Yeah, those turtles are evil. They'll shoot you right up into the outside wall. Yeah, first of the race, I just tried to get down into second, get to the bottom as quick as possible on the start, and just ride, conserve tires, let them come in soft the first 10 laps, and just kept Brett within sight, and then was planning for the long run, and then the pit stop just kind of, it changed everything up, and we come out good on that, thank goodness.
Now, Keith, I'm taking a look over here. We got 2 races left, obviously. Monday night, going to Eldora. Wednesday, we got Nashville. And looking at these drop races, you get one dirt, one asphalt. I mean, you're what, 37 points to the good. I mean, you got to be feeling pretty good going into this last week, right? I mean, I may be talking to the Sstc Short Track Series champion. I mean, are you feeling confident? 2 races left?
Yeah, Shaggy, if I did my math correct, I could basically drop the last 2 races and we should still come out on top. So, yeah, it's been a phenomenal year. And it's not about winning a championship or winning races. It's about competing with these guys, just on and off the track, the friendships, the camaraderie. It's just a great group of guys. And the Cynics league that Rob and Joe have built is just phenomenal. And, we've got big things in the future. I think it's just going to grow from here.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, having guys like you in here, that is a big part of it, because I talked to my dad the other day, and just the information you're willing to share. And, you're clearly, I mean, you've got some tips and tricks to give out. I mean, you're quick. And the fact that you don't hide them, man, you want everybody to be there. You want them all to compete and have fun. That's what I love about this league, and that's what's going to make it grow. Hell of a run, Keith. Congratulations on the big win, man. Who you want to thank?
Thank you, Shaggy. Yeah, I'm going to follow Mike's league there, and just, thank the Cenex team, and also MRL, because, MRL is the sanctioning body that brought Cenex in their partnership league, and, giving us this platform to race, and giving us this opportunity. It's great. And, just looking forward to what the future holds.
Well, can't wait to talk to you again Monday night, Keith. Go give him hell, man.
Thank you, Shaggy. Have a good one.
Keith Kincaid bringing home the win here. And you heard it with drop weeks. I mean, he may have it locked up. It may be close, but I imagine, we go to Eldora. He may plant that flag one more time in the pro late models. We'll have to see. But, he mentioned MRL. That, of course, is the Misfit Racing League. And Kyle, I believe his last name's Adams over there. Sorry, Kyle, if I got your last name wrong. But Kyle is the absolute man. I mean, he helps me with my broadcast stuff. He is one of the golden people here on iRacing, and you have Kyle in your corner. That's a great guy to have. But we're going to wrap up the Sstc Short Track Series Championship here on this Sunday morning. And, well, we'll be back tomorrow night. We'll do their late model race there at Eldora. So make sure you hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Don't miss a show. I'm Zach chatting with ShaggyTV saying so long. Have a good day.